I hope you guys are reading me loud and clear. Of course, I'm going to go ahead and check to see when I pop in. But I see that many of you guys are here with me live, which is awesome. And there I am. I can hear myself, so that means you guys likely hear me. So hello, everyone, and welcome to our sixth and final module of empire building. I'm so glad that you guys could all join me. And yeah, I'm so excited to see you guys all live. So let's do as we normally do for the start of these classes, and let's go ahead and do a little bit of a guided meditation. I don't know about you, but I could actually really use this today. I'm feeling a little bit anxious today for like no apparent reason. So yeah, let's go ahead and just start our rounds of breathing, and then I'm going to integrate in our affirmation for today's class. So as per the usual, we'll just go ahead and sit back and sit up, shoulders square and back, open up the chest. Make sure you're relaxed and loose, palms up in front of you in your lap or on your desk. Then we're going to breathe in through our nose and hold it at the top for 3 seconds, and then breathe out through our mouth, hopefully with a nice sigh, and just shift our energy. So let's go ahead and begin through the nose. Hold. Release. Okay, let's go ahead and do this again. In through the nose. Okay, we'll do it one more time together before I add the affirmation. In through the nose, sorry. Hold, 2, 3, release. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add the affirmation for today's class. And you guys know how we do this. We go ahead and do our round again. And then at the end of the round, after we've exhaled, we will say this together. Our affirmation for today's class is, I choose how my business gets to work for me. So we'll start together in through the nose. Hold. Release. I choose how my business gets to work for me. In through the nose again. Hold. And release. I choose how my business gets to work for me. And one more time together, in through the nose. Hold. And release. I choose how my business gets to work for me. So definitely write that down, you guys. I think that that is a very good affirmation for what we're going to learn today, being that we're going to be talking about business administration, which is one of the simpler modules because it has kind of like less content topics. But through what we're going to be talking about today, you are going to be learning how to set your business up in a way that works for you. And that's something that I really want to make sure that we're each kind of understanding, and is a point that we drive home, which is that there is no right or wrong way to set up your business. There is no right or wrong way to promote yourself online. There is no right or wrong platform to be using. There is no right or wrong product to be selling. There is no right or wrong platform to be selling, like e-commerce platform to be selling on. You get to decide how your business works for you, and it still gets to be successful no matter what platforms, no matter what products, no matter how you organize yourself. Your business still gets to work for you because you call the shots for how it's going to work. And I personally believe that on a metaphysical level, that when we decide and take ownership for how our business is going to work and put our energy behind that and just say, look, this is how my business has to work for me. And I believe that no matter what, it can work with this structure, with this platform, with this message, with this whatever it is that you have to decide on. Then I think when you have your energy aligned with that, I think that your business has to work for you. When you have that enthusiasm for what you're doing, which we talked about in the Slack channel under the module for manifestation, not module, but the manifestation rituals channel, then I believe when your enthusiasm is there, when you feel like it's the aligned choice for you, then your business has to work out. Like it has to work the way you want it to work. And that's why we have so many different varieties of businesses. That's why there's so many different platforms that people can use. That's why I try to always tell you to, like, I will give you the information for how to use different options, and I can give you feedback for where I feel like you might not be needing to spend your time if you're unsure yourself. But if you feel a certain way about a platform, a product, a message, a branding element, a way to market your business, a piece of content, then that's something that you need to explore and get your energy behind, because you are the one who gets to decide how your business works for you. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into the lecture for module number 6. And then, of course, at the end, we will take open Q&A. So you guys ready? Everyone have their notepads ready and their everything, and you got your drinks? And take a big swig before we get started. Okay, so without further ado, the 6th and final module of Empire Building. Enjoy, guys. Hello and welcome to Empire Building Module 6, Business Administration. So in module number 6, we're going to be talking about organizing into a business, business planning, and business systems. The worksheets that are included with this module are Write Your Own Business Plan, the Weekly Business Planning Worksheet, and Creating Systems. And the key tasks and activities that you're going to perform through the use of the information in this module are to decide the legal and tax structure for your business, to create dedicated business accounts, familiarize yourself with tax forms and the tax process, set goals for the year, and establish systems to help streamline your work. So first, we're going to talk about organizing into a business. And real quick, I want to give you a disclaimer, which is that I want to clearly state that I am not a tax or legal professional. I highly recommend that you talk to one before taking any action setting up your business to get the right advice for your specific situation. How you set up your business will vary based on your location, personal situation, and the type of business you're starting. All advice I give on this matter comes from my own experience and is being shared to provide you with an idea of what I did so that you have a framework for reference. However, my experience will not necessarily be yours. For the first part of this module, I want to discuss how you organize yourself into a business entity and all the significant details that go into that. I want you to understand, first and foremost, as you're getting started building your business, that there is not necessarily an immediate need for you to get formally organized as a business until you start earning a consistent income that exceeds your business expenses. Many new business owners get themselves worked up over needing to obtain a tax filing number or formally setting up an LLC before they've even made a sale. So the first point I want to emphasize is that right now, most of you getting started don't need to worry about the official business side of things. My suggestion is to wait until you are making money. I would wait until your business is generating consistent income. I wouldn't wait years to set up your business legally, but it's far from the first thing that you need to do as a new business owner in many cases, especially the ones who are operating online. The first fiscal year I was in business for myself, I didn't organize into an official business entity because I was getting started and figuring things out to get my income streams generating consistently. Instead, I waited until the second fiscal year when things began to steady for me, and then I used a website called LegalZoom.com to set up my business as an LLC. Although I did pay a few $100s for the service, I spent perhaps a total of a half hour on the site, and then my business was set up for me within a month. I received all the legal documentation I needed in the mail. It was incredibly convenient, and I would recommend using a site like LegalZoom if you want to set up your business quickly. One thing to keep in mind, however, is if you're using a site like LegalZoom, you really need to do your own research ahead of time to know the structure that you want to set up. Don't rely on the site to give you legal advice on what to choose. That's why it's best to consult a lawyer. So the legal aspects of setting up your business, depending on your country, state, or municipality, the process for setting up your business into a separate business entity will vary. So I have a few links for you to check out that I will leave in the resources section of this module. Another common question that new business owners ask when getting themselves set up is, should I set myself up as a sole proprietorship an S Corp, or an LLC. In order to understand the information I'm about to present to you, I want to mention a few terms that are used in a specific way under the law and by the IRS. The first term to understand is entity. An entity is a thing with a distinct and independent existence. In relation to a business structure, it means something that is considered a separate person from an owner. A separate entity gives the owner freedom from personal liability in a vast majority of instances. The next term to understand is pass-through. A pass-through entity is named that way because all income and expenses are passed through the owner's personal income tax return. For example, a sole proprietorship is a pass-through since it reports and pays taxes on business income on the owner's personal tax return, but it's not a separate legal entity from the owner. Since the sole proprietor and the business are the same entity, it leaves the owner liable for any issues that arise in the business. In contrast, an LLC is also another pass-through entity, but the LLC is actually responsible for liability for the company, leaving the owner's personal assets safe in the event of a legal judgment. So in order to understand your choice for how you're going to set up your business, it is essential that you understand what each option is intended for. Essentially, all choices are a way for you to file business taxes, but some options give you more protection as an individual than others. These are the types of business entities in the U.S. First, a sole proprietor. A sole proprietor has complete control of their business's income and operations, but also full responsibility for debts, lawsuits, and taxes. This means if you are ever sued, your personal assets are at risk along with the business's assets. This structure is a pass-through entity. A partnership. A partnership is two or more people agreeing to own or run a business together. There are three types of partnerships with differing levels of liability protection for the partners depending on their position within the business. A lawyer should be consulted if you're interested in setting up a partnership to decide which option is best for you. An LLC, or limited liability company. An LLC is a legal business structure that protects your personal assets if your company is sued. An LLC can be a pass-through entity depending on your election with the IRS. S corporations. An S corporation is a pass-through entity with a more formal business structure than the LLC, but it carries all the liability risk. An S corp is a good choice if you have a lot of assets like furniture, cars, etc., and want to pay yourself as an employee rather than as an independent contractor or owner. An S corp pays half of their employees' Medicare and Social Security taxes, which could be a benefit. C corporations. A C corporation is a formal corporation with many requirements. It files its own tax returns and requires a large business structure to manage. This is an unlikely option for those of you within this course, but again, consult a legal professional to determine if this is the proper structure for you. Next, why liability risk is important. Now, I understand the risk of a lawsuit sounds a little scary, but I know plenty of businesses that operate as a sole proprietorship and they've had no issues. Yes, sometimes business gets messy for some people and it involves legal action, but for many online businesses, this isn't the case. If you run a business where there is little risk that your products will harm anyone, a sole proprietorship may work fine for you. However, I have my business set up as an LLC because I do engage in some business activities that are at risk for a lawsuit. Namely, my business consulting or coaching may put me at risk because I'm giving people advice in my classes and courses. There's always a possibility that someone might want to come after me legally. I use detailed disclaimers to help avoid that scenario, but just in case, I set myself up as an LLC. And an extra tip here is please don't try to just copy someone else's disclaimer from their website. It may not be appropriate for you and your business, and therefore it may set you up for a fall rather than help you out of a tight spot. There are a few websites that help you generate terms and policies and disclaimers like Termly and termsfeed.com. However, if in doubt, the best practice is to find an attorney that specializes in online business. Now, under the umbrella of LLC, there are a few options for your business structure that are important to understand. A single member LLC. This means your business is being run by one individual who is accountable for the taxes, similar to the sole proprietorship. In this structure, the owner is responsible for and has access to all the profits of the company and pays personal income tax on it all. A multiple member LLC. This means the LLC will be treated as a partnership by the IRS unless the members file a form indicating that they want to be treated as another entity. The other types of business structures are partnerships and corporations. A partnership, this means that there are two or more individuals who own a business and are responsible for the taxes. A partnership does not afford the liability protection of an LLC or an S Corp, as liability can reach down to each partner. S Corps and C Corps, these are more complex entities. In an S Corp, the business files a tax return that shows the company's income and deductions, but the business itself owes no money. A separate schedule is created, which shows the amount the shareholders must include in their personal returns. In these businesses, the members are paid a wage from the business and claim their income on their personal taxes. However, they are cut off from the business's profits, except for distributions made by the corporation. In the C Corp, it is wholly its own entity that pays taxes on income, files its own return, and can also make shareholder distributions. It protects all employees and officers from liability, except in rare occasions, but has enormous rules and regulations on operations. Again, I highly recommend that you speak to a CPA or other qualified tax professional and a lawyer knowledgeable about business structures and their basic tax implications to make the best educated decision for how you set up your business legally. Business accounting and taxes. Once you have yourself set up as the legal entity that works for you, another common question is, how do you pay taxes? I know the idea of taxes is stressful for many people. However, let me assure you that as much as the PR around taxes says that they are bad and confusing, that has never been my personal experience. And I'm saying that as someone who has been through an audit as well. Feeling good about tax time is something that starts with putting in place solid business accounting practices. These practices don't have to be complicated, but it is important for you to have a grasp on your accounting to make tax time much easier and help you clearly understand your tax burden ahead of time. There's nothing worse than being hit with a tax bill you didn't expect, and good accounting practices will help you prepare. The first tip I have for you is to get yourself a separate set of business accounts. If you can, get yourself a business credit card if that makes sense for you, and a business checking and savings account. If you're a sole proprietor and you can't set up a business account per se, open a separate checking and savings account in your name and DBA, doing business as, and dedicate it for business use only. If you aren't approved for a credit card, no worries, this still works with a checking account and debit card. Once you have one or more dedicated accounts open, you will do your best to receive all your income through these accounts and pay all your expenses from these accounts. When you have one set of dedicated accounts for your business, it makes your bookkeeping so much simpler because everything is in the same place. The next tip I have for you is to look at the Schedule C tax form, or whichever tax form is applicable for business taxes in your country, and note exactly what information they are asking from you and the process for filling it out. Once you see that what the business tax form looks like, I think you'll actually see that it's a lot simpler than you might expect. You can use information from this form to see what areas of your business are expenses that you can deduct and put in place a system for tracking them monthly, quarterly, or yearly, whatever works for your needs. I have included a sample US Schedule C form in the resources of this module for you to review. When it comes to paying your business taxes, at least in the US, you're expected to pay quarterly estimated taxes if you believe you're going to owe money at the end of the year to the government, meaning you expect to have profit left over after deducting your expenses from your revenue. If you don't pay something during the fiscal year to the government, you are at risk for additional fees as well as the taxes you owe. In my experience, filing my quarterly estimated taxes has been easy because they don't have to be extremely accurate. I'm sure for large companies like Target, it's important for their tax payments to be as close to the dollar as possible. But for small businesses such as mine, it's okay to make your best educated guess every quarter based on your income and expenses for that quarter. You can then rectify the difference when you're filing your tax return for the year. Take a look at the tax form US 1040ES, which walks you through how to calculate your estimated taxes for the quarter. And again, I want to reiterate, it's okay if this number isn't 100% accurate. It's estimated taxes after all. Now, say you've been paying your quarterly estimated taxes throughout the year, or perhaps not, and now it is tax time and you need to file your business taxes. For many of you, I'm confident your business taxes are going to be filed alongside your personal taxes, so you can use whichever CPA, tax service, or tax software you normally use to do your taxes. And at the end of the process, if you get money back, wonderful. And if you owe money, don't worry. You can pay your taxes when you are filing them. And if you don't have the money, the US government offers payment plans if you do owe. And hopefully you've learned what not to do in the future to avoid your tax bill. State, local, sales, and other business taxes. Just like filing your personal income taxes when you run a business in the US, you may also be required to file state and local income, franchise, or unemployment taxes, plus sales tax if your products or services are taxable. Again, this is a situation where you need to speak to a tax professional in your area to understand which of your products or services are taxable and if your business entity requires the payment of franchise or unemployment taxes. I will leave some additional information on sales tax in the resources of this module to get you started discovering if your products or services require payment of such additional taxes. You can usually find basic information for franchise or unemployment taxes on your state's Secretary of State, Department of Revenue, Unemployment Agency, or Comptroller's website. Business licensing. Depending on where you live and what type of business you're running, it is possible you may need to apply for a license to run your business. There were no business licenses in my municipality that applied to my online business, but that may not be true for you. You can easily find this information by contacting the labor, industry, or business-related agencies in your state, country, county, or municipality. I will leave you some links below to resources that may help you find more information on whether your business requires licensing. Be sure to also check local zoning codes on businesses run from a home. Business insurance and/or personal liability insurance. Depending on the type of business you're running, you may want to invest in small business insurance or be required to hold personal liability insurance. Insurance is another situation where you need to research your industry to see if this is something you need or want to have. I will leave additional information on insurance in the resources of this module. So next, let's talk about business planning. So writing a formal business plan. When you're getting started with your business, a very popular topic to come up is often your business plan. However, I think many new business owners are surprised when they really learn exactly what a business plan is and what it's for. Usually when we use the term business plan, we're referring to a document setting out a business's objectives and strategies for achieving them. In many cases, this document is a very top-level, big-picture overview of a business's intentions, and it's usually used for official purposes like getting investors or loans. It's not necessarily a document that you'll use to manage your day-to-day business activities. However, if you're interested in creating your own, the following activity and worksheets will help you get started creating yours. So here you can take action to learn to write your business plan. I have a 2-page outline that you can follow to actually write a complete formal business plan. Business planning for creatives. For myself personally, I haven't had a need to create a formal business plan. As a creative business, I find that I absolutely need a plan, but the type of planning I'm looking for is a way to take the big picture vision of my business and break it down into manageable pieces that tie my daily actions back to the big picture objectives. That is why I created the CEO Strategy Planner inserts. The CEO Strategy Planner is a collection of printable inserts that follow what I call the creative business plan, geared towards online social media marketing and influencer type businesses. You can create your executive summary, lay out your brand vision, set yearly goals, break those into quarterly, monthly, and individual objectives, manage your digital marketing plan, and organize your finances, all with the help of over 60 elegant insert designs. Now, I would not be surprised if some of you already own the CEO Strategy Planner, but as part of this module, I think it's really important that all of you have this planner. So you will find a link to download it as a special bonus within the resources of this module. And as such, I would like to now walk you through my creative business planning process using the inserts and explaining them each to you. The first set of inserts in the CEO Strategy Planner are what I call the Creative Business Plan. It begins with the Executive Summary insert, which is a top-level view of your business, where you get super clear on the essential elements of your business. On this insert, you will define your business name and tagline, your business values, and your business manifesto. The next insert covers your target market. So what does your business sell? Who are your customers, outcomes you produce for customers, and how you market to your customers. Once you have that key information defined, you can move on to defining your business vision. Starting with the brand vision inserts, you will ask yourself and outline, where do you see your business in the next year, the next 3 years, in the next 5 years, and in the next 10 years? With that key big picture business information outlined, we can move on to outlining a plan for our year with the yearly business plan overview. On these inserts, you will set quarterly income goals, starting with your target income goal and then breaking that down into quarterly targets. Next, you will set 3 objectives to work on each quarter based on the objectives you listed for each of the big 4 areas of your business. These are the big 4 areas of your business for planning purposes and the questions you should ask yourself to define your objectives for each. So number 1 is products. So what products or services do you want to create, package, or offer? Number 2 is list building. Where do I want my list to be this year? What lead magnets do I need to create in order to get there? Number 3, marketing. What content, campaigns, or funnels do I need to create? And number 4, development. Where do I want to add incremental improvements to my business? Once you have those yearly objectives laid out for your business and by quarter, you can break things down a little further by mapping your objectives out across the months of your year. So looking forward through your year, fill in any key objectives in the months they belong. Also, fill in any other important information that pertains to individual months, like the key dates or events that you might need to reference for planning purposes. Then we get to breaking out our quarterly business plans, which I prefer to do at the close of the previous quarter, but you can map these out whenever is right for you. With the quarterly business plan inserts, you will set your target income by starting with that target income goal you defined on your yearly business plan, and then break down your goal into individual product targets. If you have multiple products or services, use this area to clearly map out how you plan to achieve the target income goal through individual sales goals of products and or services. Next, you will use the open area on the insert to brainstorm ideas for how you will ensure your targets are met. Ask yourself, what are all the things I can do, like the strategies, to affect the outcome of that income goal? And once you have those ideas out of your head and onto paper, you can map out a quarterly plan for yourself. Again, referencing your quarterly and monthly objectives, but also paying attention to the 3 main online business activities that you'll focus on for a quarter. So number 1 is the focus, the most important thing or theme for your month. Number 2 is marketing, the key content or campaigns that you want to produce during that time. And 3 is list building, the lead magnets, networking, or community building activities that you're going to need to do in order to grow your list. So once your quarterly plans are outlined, you can get even more specific by mapping out your monthly business plan. With the monthly overview insert, you will clarify your focus for the month, identify the marketing campaigns you are executing that month, map out important dates for your business or marketing calendar, and populate a list of key tasks broken out by the area of your business they pertain to for tracking purposes. Now, with your yearly business plans broken into monthly plans, you can then start planning out specific business objectives with the workflow and project plan inserts. For each individual objective you're managing, you can use the workflow insert to do pre-planning of an objective, especially one where the process may not be very clear at the outset. Define the objective and then start with the known steps. For each known step, is there a prerequisite before you can execute? Is there a logical next step to follow it up? Once you have that pre-planned outline, you can turn your objective into a project plan where you will define basic project parameters, break your project into phases, list out the strategic process, and give each step a due date to ensure timeliness. To assist with your project planning, you may also make use of the project budget and tracker inserts, where you will keep track of the anticipated and actual expenses of your project and get a top-line view of all your projects, their budgets, and final costs. The next bit of business planning you will want to do is create a marketing plan. In the CEO Strategy Planner, your marketing plan begins with a content brainstorm insert. You received a full-page worksheet similar to this in Module 2 on communication, so you may remember that on this insert, you use the SEO-enabled keywords associated with your business as categories for content topics. So consider what keywords, search terms, or categories do you use to attract your audience. Then you will use the 5 types of content to brainstorm a list of possible content ideas. You will want to consider pieces of content that do the following. Number 1, educate, so teach them something that has to do with your brand or business. Number 2, entertain, show them something funny or relatable. 3, inspire, give them a message to uplift them. 4, inform, show them the behind the scenes of what goes into your brand or business. And number 5, interact. So engage with them, ask questions, build community, sell to them. With content ideas brainstormed, you can then plan out your content for a month or quarter at a time, whatever works for you. With the content planner insert, you will define the products that you are focused on creating or promoting during the month, the opt-ins you're using to direct your audience to your list, and again, you will clarify the campaigns that you have going on that month that you need to create content for or be mindful of. And then you can outline your content for each of your platforms. You will identify 3 platforms and list out the content you plan to create during the time period. With your content ideas mapped out, you can then outline each piece of content, which I recommend doing in bulk on the content outline insert. Define the title or subject of your content, the date when the content needs to be published, identify a call to action you might be using in the content to direct your audience, list any opt-in that can be paired with this content for list building purposes, define additional media to go along with the content, and of course, outline the key points you want to make. Then, when your content is mapped out, you can track your content by platform on the content tracker. Here you will list your title and check the progress as you create your content, hopefully by bulking your content creation process to save you time and energy. The final part of your marketing plans is the campaign builder insert, which is where you will create a marketing campaign. Start by naming your campaign and defining the objective or the specific outcome you're trying to achieve. Then list out the key points of messaging for the campaign. So what are the 3 key phrases or messages that you're using to connect with your audience and customers? Next, you can outline the start and end date for this campaign before outlining the assets you need to create or collect for use in the campaign. Ask yourself, what marketing copy, photos, graphics, video, or other assets do you need to create? Then define your metrics. So what 3 metrics are you going to what 3 metrics are you using to measure the success or progress of the campaign? The second part of the campaign builder is the broadcast tracker insert, which is where you will list out all the individual messages that will be going on during this campaign from your various platforms. The final part of the CEO Strategy Planner intended to help you create your creative business plan is the financial planning section. Here you will find an annual profit and loss insert and yearly overview that you use to give yourself a big picture view of your business profitability and is specifically very helpful for tax season in terms of tracking your income and expenses. The monthly bill tracker is great for keeping track of the bills you pay each month that may vary, while the yearly bill tracker is great for recurring bills in your accounts payable. The income and expense tracker is great for helping you maximize your income while minimizing expenses by giving you a running list of monthly income and expenses with anticipated and actual figures, plus the date the item hits your books. The savings tracker insert is a great way to set goals for growing your savings if you're trying to set aside money for tax time or save up to purchase a business asset. And finally, the donation tracker insert is a great way to commit to giving through your business. Many businesses choose to support their favorite causes with portions of their income or general giving goals, and the best part is these donations are usually tax deductible. So that is my overall business planning process and the inserts included in the CEO Strategy Planner. I hope having these inserts helps you feel more in control of the various aspects of your business and gives you a way to tie your big yearly goals with your individual objectives on a daily basis. Now, while these inserts will work alongside any agenda or calendar system you may use for your day-to-day tasks, in addition, I have also designed a strategic weekly business planning insert to help you manage your workload as a business owner. So here again, you're going to take action with the weekly business planning worksheet. This is just a great way to give you an overview of the different tasks that you might be doing that are essential for your business, creating content across the 3 platforms, the administrative tasks you need to work on, and a master weekly task list so that you are keeping an eye on everything. And again, this will integrate nicely with any other planning system that you're using in addition to it. Finally, let's talk about business systems. So systems are a major part of running a successful business. They are a procedure, process, method, or course of action designed to achieve a specific result. In simpler terms, they are any process you take on a regular basis. Within your business, there will be many routine activities that can be optimized into a system, and the sooner you can get your systems defined and codified, the smoother and more efficiently your business will run. Here are some common examples of areas of a business that would have a system in place. So emails, customer service, order processing, financial tracking, savings and taxes, accounts payable, inventory, manufacturing, marketing and promotion, and administrative. Of course, not all of these examples will apply to every business, and there's absolutely no one defined best practice for how any of these examples should be systematized. What is important when it comes to defining your own systems is to understand how you work best and find ways to refine your process naturally that can save you time and energy when performing these regular systemized tasks. So, how to systemize nearly any business process? First, before you begin, make sure that the process is still relevant and necessary. I cannot tell you how often business owners get into the habit of doing something that has no bearing on their business, but they're afraid to stop the process out of fear or worry. Keeping too many unnecessary tasks and processes on your plate is the easiest way to sabotage your business. So make sure that whatever you're working on for your business is still working, especially anything that is important or routine enough to warrant a codified system. The best way to identify whether or not a process is still relevant to your business is to ask yourself why you do it. Follow the answer to its logical conclusion until you see how the activity either positively affects your business or is a necessary component of running your business. There are many things that we have to do in our businesses that don't impact it positively or negative. They're just routine business tasks that need to be completed. Okay, so to systemize any process, once you know it's still relevant, you first need to record the process for how it is done as though you are training to teach someone else to do it. So once you have the system in mind that you want to work on, you will go about your normal process for undertaking it and write down the steps and actions. Once the process is written or typed out, whichever you prefer, review and optimize it. Because we are codifying the process right now and turning it into a set of directions, so you need to look at the steps and see if you did anything out of order or see if there's a way to shorten a certain part of the process to make it more effective. Anything to optimize it, edit that in the process. Then finally, you need to establish parameters for how the system and the individual actions in the process are triggered. So is this a process you undertake every day? When do you do it? Is there something that happens first that triggers you to start this process? Is there any way to streamline or batch this work by setting up new parameters for how the action is triggered? Asking and answering these questions for each potential system is a great way to optimize it to ensure that you're spending your time efficiently. And now we're going to take action again by using the Creating Systems worksheet to define systems for key activities in your business. You can then keep these as reference for yourself to use and/or create a binder for employees or assistants to learn and stick to your processes in the future. Email management and customer service time savers. The final pieces of advice I wanted to share with you on the topic of business systems have to do with managing your email and customer service systems. I'm bulking these two topics together because for most online businesses, their email system is their customer service system. Everyone gets too much email in our current day and age, and when you are running a business and communicating with customers via email as well, it just seems to pile on. So first, email autoresponder. The first tip I have for you to manage your email inbox is to create a custom autoresponder message for your business email account. So this would be the email account you direct your customers to use to reach out to you for questions or concerns. If you aren't familiar, an email autoresponder is a message that you can create that is automatically sent to anyone who sends you an email within a specific set of parameters defined inside your email software. Those options can vary, but every email system has the ability to add an autoresponder message. Think about companies where people leave out-of-office messages on their email so people know they're not around and can reach out to someone else for help. That's what you're going to do for your business email. Now, the purpose of using this email responder is to give your customers confirmation that their email went to the right place, to set expectations for when you will be able to respond to their message, and to redirect your customer to information where they might be able to find their own answer to their inquiry. In my email autoresponder, I direct my audience to check out the FAQ page on my shop, which includes answers to many of the questions I receive via email. So by setting this autoresponder up, I'm actually helping my customers find answers automatically without having to get involved. I cannot tell you how many times I've been emailed common questions by customers, and then when they received their auto response, they were able to find their answers on their own. Then I would get a message like, I found the answer on your FAQ page, so no need to respond, thank you. So having an email autoresponder is an easy way to help you cut back on customer service emails. Of course, I always get back to my customers no matter what, but I am ensuring my customer does quickly find their answer or solution to their problem, which in turn makes them feel like they've had a positive experience with me. Now, if you want a little help writing your autoresponder message, here is mine for your reference. Feel free to use something similar. The subject line of the email is, "Thank you for your email." So thank you so much for your email. This is just a quick message to let you know your email was received. I try my best to monitor my email for urgent issues. However, I generally respond to emails once a day in the afternoon, and depending on the number of requests I have, it can take me up to 48 hours to respond outside of weekends. If you are experiencing any unforeseen issues with an order or have questions you need answered with expediency, visit the FAQ page of my shop linked below. It will provide additional support for common printing, order access, and other issues. If you're experiencing difficulty with my shop or an order, please know that I'm committed to providing you excellent customer service, so you will be taken care of. I know how frustrating it can be when an order goes wrong or you have trouble with a purchase, so breathe easy knowing that I'm here to give you personalized one-on-one support. FAQ page and then the link. Thank you again for your email, and I will talk to you soon. XOXO Alexis. Canned email responses. The second tip I have for you to manage your emails is to use canned email responses to frequently asked questions. This is a little different than the autoresponder because ultimately the emails you receive do require a response, and it's good to have a canned or pre-written response that you can just insert into an email and save you time and energy in your reply if the inquiry is not unique. In my own business, for example, I receive loads of emails every day from companies that have found me and want to pitch me some amazing business opportunity. Now, in the beginning of my business, when this was new to me, I would read through and thoroughly vet any emails like this, taking them as serious inquiries. But now with the way I run my business and my experience, I can read an email like this and immediately tell if it's not for me. So I have a canned response ready that I can just copy and paste into the email. It says the following. I call this the unsolicited partnership opportunity reply. No, thank you. This is not the right fit for my business. Please remove me from this email list. Best, Alexis. I know it might sound a little curt, and I do adjust the greeting depending on if I believe the email is sent from a real legitimate person who knows me versus a generic email that some marketer sent out to like thousands of people, but it does the job. Another one I use is the how did I get on your email list question. Hi, name. Thanks so much for your email. You are likely on my list because you either made a purchase from my shop or opted into a free resource. But if you are no longer getting value from my emails, there is a link at the bottom of them where you can unsubscribe. Best productivity wishes, and I hope you have a wonderful week. XOXO Alexis. I will give you one final example that I call no account found in shop. Hi, name. I searched for your information in my shop, but it doesn't appear you have an active account. Customer information is only stored in my shop for up to 1 year from the date of purchase. After that, it is deleted. If you are trying to make a new purchase, feel free to create a new account at checkout, or if you're trying to access a purchase older than 1 year, please forward me your invoice information so I may assist you. Let me know if there's anything else I can do to help. Best, Alexis. So these email responses and others are kept in my Apple Notes on my computer, but also synced with my phone so I can always access them whether I'm replying to people on my computer or if I'm processing emails out and about on my phone. I recommend as you get started with your business and customer service, keeping track of frequently asked questions and the responses you send to them and creating your own default replies that you can save and reference for later. I cannot tell you how much time it saves me when I get similar email inquiries like, I want to start a new business. And instead of having to write a personalized email to this very vague question, I can just copy and paste a response that thoroughly directs the potential customer where they can get more resources from me or even enroll in a program like Empire Building. And email inbox zero. The final tip I have for you to manage your email is to abide by the practice of reaching email inbox zero on a weekly basis. Email inbox zero is the practice of going through all your emails and processing them so you never miss an email or important message. It doesn't mean that you reply to all the emails you receive, but it means that you read them, delete any junk mail, save any reference emails that you don't need to act on, and then have the emails you need to reply to sectioned off or flagged for you to reply when you have the time. Reaching email inbox zero is a process that is best to be seen done in action, and I do have a video walking you through my process that I will share in the resources section of the module. Definitely check it out, learn the process, and commit to processing all unopened emails by week's end so that you can stay on top of your requests. Okay, so now the next steps. Now that you've worked through Module 6, you should have a clearer understanding of how you can get yourself organized into a legal business entity, create an effective business plan, and set up the systems to help you streamline your business tasks in a way that saves you time and energy each and every day. Your homework now is to put this information into action by doing some research on how you may want to protect your business and set it up properly for tax purposes. Of course, reaching out to a professional in these areas to get the best advice before you take any significant action. You should also start using the CEO Strategy Planner to map out your business goals and break them into manageable pieces to ensure you are making progress every day. Finally, you should start creating some systems for your regular business activities and get your email autoresponder set up as well as some canned email responses ready to go to help you simplify your work. Additional tools and resources for business administration are located on the webpage for Module 6. And now I will go ahead and open the floor for some Q&A. So please go ahead and ask your questions in the comments, and I will be glad to respond. Okay, everyone. So that was still up. Module number 6. on business administration. So feel free to go ahead and leave me your questions. And as you guys are asking your questions in the comments, I'm going to go ahead and address something that we talked about last week. So, if you guys were with me last week, if you weren't, I'm catching you up now. Essentially, many of you guys have, since the beginning of this 6 weeks business accelerator process, many of you have reached out to ask me if we could continue this business coaching and continue the Empire Business Accelerator as like an ongoing thing. So we kind of worked it out last week. You guys gave me some ideas for like the parameters of what you guys were looking for. Sorry, you guys. And essentially, you guys said that if we could do something where we had like one like group coaching call, like new information masterclass a month, and then had continuous access to the Slack group. And, I could regularly update you guys throughout the week in Slack on maybe some different tips, some different tricks and hacks and things like that, and just be there to give you guys ongoing support. I have decided that we can do that. I think we should move forward with that if you guys are interested, because many of you guys were. And what I've gone ahead and done is this week I did, or the last week, I should say, I did a deep dive into what we were looking at for the package, and I have created a reoccurring like subscription that you guys can subscribe to for this Business Accelerators group coaching. So the link for the group coaching right now, if you guys are watching this live, is if you're watching it live on YouTube as we're going live, click the description box of the video, open it up, and you will find a link to subscribe to the ongoing membership. So what we'll do is we'll just continue doing this. We'll have another class. I think what I will do is I think I'm going to schedule the first class for us. I'm open to changing this right now, you guys. Like we said, I wasn't sure what days we would want to do this, but you guys said you were open to the weekends. So I am thinking the first class we can do is Sunday, November 22nd. I'm hoping at like 2 p.m. would be good. So that is what I think our first class will be. So essentially, if you guys want to stay in the Slack group, if you want to continue on, if you want to continue getting business coaching, if you want to continue having the group, register for the Business Accelerators subscription. And the good thing about that is I'm not going to tie you guys to a commitment. So I'm not going to require, I know sometimes when people do business coaching, they require a commitment for like 6 months or a year or something like that. I'm not going to require anything like that because, like we talked about last week, this wasn't my intention necessarily to do something like this. I am open to it. So because it's going to be new for me and it's going to be new for you, I didn't want to do like a commitment thing. I just didn't feel like it was the thing I wanted to do, since this was something that you guys asked for, not something that I was like trying to package and sell. So there's no commitment. You guys can cancel at any time if you're not interested in it anymore, or, you've gotten enough or whatnot. But what I will say is that it is going to be a priority for me that I do have a minimum of you in the group. So it's not going, if there's not enough of you that sign up that I feel like it's going to be worth the investment for me to put the extra time in and do the class and things like that, then I'll just close the whole thing. Right. So, and of course, in that case, I would refund you guys, if anything had been purchased. You know what I'm saying? Like we would work our way out through, right? But I would not want to, if I wasn't going to be getting the investment back for my own time, I would cancel it and we would close subscriptions and stuff like that. So one thing I do want to say is that when you do subscribe, there are not going to be any refunds, right? So once you've paid, right, there's not going to be a refund. You can cancel after you've paid, right, if you don't want to move forward with future months. But because this is a group coaching, because you're going to be in a group and be getting classes and stuff like that, there's not going to be any refunds once your subscription like renews for a new month. So you're responsible for just making sure, like with any other subscription, that you're happy with it, that you want to continue doing it ongoing, and you guys have the power in your hands. Someone says, I'm not seeing a place to open the description for the link. If you are watching this on YouTube, maybe refresh the page really quickly. But, oh, you found it. Good. Oh, excellent. 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 Okay. So, I'm going to go back and see questions because I'm sure I got some questions. Hello, 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 everyone. Loud and clear. Yes, yes, yes. Keep going. Pass, 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 pass. Anne said, I had trouble printing the CEO strategy planner. Can they be printed as full-size letter? Yes. The default size on them is like a half letter, which you would print in booklet form. And did you see, I didn't even check when I loaded these up for you guys. Was there printing instructions with, I have an entire file for how to print the CEO strategy planner, but essentially what you do is you print it, instead of doing a booklet form, you'll print it full size. And just have it either scale to fit or say like, yeah, it would be something like it would be fit or scale to fit. Let your computer automatically size it is what I'd recommend. I wouldn't put a percentage in. Just automatic. Let your PDF reader adjust it. So I would put like, it's called automatic. Let me see what mine's called. Let me open it up and I will see. Adobe Acrobat Reader. Here we go. And I look at my printer section. What does it say? Oh, I don't have anything open. I got to open something. Okay, darn. Geez Louise. Okay, hold on. CEO Strategy Planner. Here we go. I'm just going to go ahead and pretend I'm printing it right now. Yes. Okay. So it would be fit. So the fit is what mine's called. Don't hit actual size because that's going to keep it at the half letter. I would hit fit and choose that. And then your page setup, if you want to print it full letter, just make sure it's set to full letter in your page setup. And in addition, I highly recommend with the CEO Strategy Planner that you take a look to see what pages you want to print. So I would actually print sections of it at a time because it is a little bit different of a planner because there are parts of it where you're only going to need one of each. Like the overall business plan with the executive summary and the target markets and, the brand and the yearly and the quarterly and the monthly overviews. You're only going to need one of those for each month. But then when it comes to like the financial inserts, you might want to do multiples. You may want to do multiples of, the campaigns and the objectives and, everything in content, basically the content marketing. That's where you're going to be printing multiples. So don't just think like, I'll just print the entire file through. That's why I have like an elaborate set of print instructions for this planner, because it is one of those things, because it's an undated planner. There's going to be some things you only need one of, and there's going to be some things that you need 12 of. You're going to want one for every month, and there might be some where you're going to have multiple, right? But you're just going to have lots that you're going to print out. So choose your, print sections at a time, and be mindful of what you're printing front and back. If you're interested in keeping things as a spread, or if you're interested in keeping things front and back, that's up to you. You can print them all different ways. And you can just do that by adjusting the page range of what you want to print. So I hope that helps. Oh, you know what? Catherine says such practical information. So I guess now I should also say a very big thank you to Catherine as well as Carol, who actually helped me over the last week. The sections about the legal setup and taxes, I wanted to make sure that I was double checking with a legal professional and a bookkeeping professional, and they reviewed my information for me so that I was giving you guys like the best information and just making sure I had everything covered. So thank you very much to Catherine and Carol for spot checking my information in module number 6. So thank you guys so much. You guys, they were a very big help to me. Let's see. Sunday, 2 p.m. works for you. Excellent, 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 Dory. Sean says, thanks for the module. How do you organize your documents, photos, and videos? Is this a loaded question? I don't have a YouTube video, I don't think, on the topic. So I will tell you guys, this is how I do this. So I wonder how much. I'm wondering if I should do a screen share. Okay, so I have a folder that is, let's just say I have a folder, okay? and it says Strange and Charmed. So it's everything for my business, right? And what I do on a Mac, I don't know if everyone has this ability, if it's just a Mac thing. I have the ability to create a short link, like a direct link to a file on my menu bar on my Mac. So I keep this folder on like the quick links basically, and it's there for me to access. When I open it up, I have all different aspects of my business broken out. So I have like personal things, I have blog and website things, email, I have something called My Business, My Goals, online business research, Photoshop templates, Scrivener, which I don't really use anymore. I use it a little bit. It was a program I used, so it has all my backups in there. Social media and YouTube. And what I do is so you just create whatever file system works for your brain and your business. So I keep like things together, essentially. So in my blog and website folder, I have a whole bunch of other subfolders. So I have like my headshots. I have blog post images. So every image that goes on my blog, I have a folder. I have folders within folders that say like 2020, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. And I will put the pictures that have been posted for posts within a certain month in the file for the right year, the right month. So that I'm always able to find things. Same thing with my styled stock photography, right? So I have, you guys have, if you guys are a business accelerator, if you're someone who also has Charm DSLR, you have access to Charm DSLR, which is my photography styling course, which teaches you how to create your own styled stock photography library. And in there, if I open up that subfolder, I have all different categories of pictures, right? So I have like Filofax or planner on my desk, office, lifestyle, home scenes, products, post templates, text screenshots, right? So I have all different types of photos broken out, and that's where I keep my pictures. So if I'm looking for a picture for like Instagram and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do a tip that's going to be like general business tips, right? So I might be like, okay, well, I'll go to my office and I'll just look at the pictures I have of my office because that might say business tips to me. Or I could say something like go to my on my desk folder and it's all pictures of my desk, like all different photos that I've taken throughout the years that I use as styled stock photography. So that's where I grab them. I also keep post templates. So if I use Photoshop to do all of my editing of photo things, and a lot of times I have templates, especially for like blog post images for like if it's like if I have an image for my blog post that has been optimized for Pinterest, right? We've talked about this before. So I use Pinterest optimized photos that are like, the portrait style, the long portrait style, and then it'll have an area for me to drop in text. So it's like ready to go for me. Same thing with like those templates that I do in Instagram for Instagram TV. When I take my YouTube videos and I turn them into Instagram TV videos, except those templates I actually keep inside of my YouTube folder. So inside of my YouTube folder, I have a place that has the templates for turning a YouTube video into an Instagram video. So yes, I do keep folders within folders. And I would say just create a system that works for you. So if you want to keep all your photography in one aspect, I keep all of my website stuff together. Like everything that goes on the website goes together. My business has a lot of stuff in it because I've got like things that go in my shop. I have my webinars in there. I have different marketing. I have legal and forms. I have a whole bunch of just like funnel things in there. And so if I go into something like the shop, I have the subfolders are like classes and courses, consulting or coaching calls, custom orders, ebooks, journaling cards, planner inserts, print instructions, product photos, shop listing graphics, stickers, wall art, things like that. So I have all the categories of my things broken down the way that makes sense to me. So I would just choose, yes, this is how I organize. I do organize my documents for my business, and I just kind of make folders that make sense. And every once in a while, I go through an audit. You know what I mean? Like I go through and make sure I still am in line with like how I'm thinking about organizing things. Sometimes I duplicate things. Like sometimes I'll be like, why is this here? You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, I put it there because of that. And I put it there because of that. So sometimes I don't have a problem doing that. If I like to have things in like more than one place. But yeah, for the most part, just come up with a system that works for your brain. Just folders, folders, folders. And then, I'll also give you guys a tip on for this, is I think it's very important when you're learning to organize your business like digitally on the computer to come up with some regular, and by regular, I just mean like regulated, like repeatable naming convention for your files. So for example, I mean, you guys ever like create files and you didn't name it something and then it has some generic name and you can't remember what you named it, right? So for empire building, for example, let me go into my empire building folder. So it goes in my business, the shop, classes and courses, empire building. Then of course I have the Empire Building 2020 update, which is what we're working on right now. So I go in there and I have under the Empire Building blueprints, blueprint design files, I have like the files for your workbooks are called whatever the name of the module is. So right now we're in business administration. So the way I name my files would be something like this: business administration, empire building, module 6. And then I also put the number 6 in there, just in case when I'm typing in my search bar for something, like I'm looking for something, I have everything covered. So just make sure when you name your files, make sure you're always naming them highly descriptive, and try to keep a strategic naming convention in there. So like if you're creating something for a course, put the name of put the name of what the thing is, the file is, the name of the course, and like the module or the part of the course that it belongs in, something like that. If you're creating like inserts, then I always name my inserts with like what the name is and the size of the file. And if it's something that's dated, the year of the file is in there. Just come up with like naming conventions for your files so that you're kind of remaining consistent, so that you can always find things over and over again, because it stinks when you like use a bunch of abbreviations or you just call it something else and then all of a sudden you can't find the file anymore. You know what I mean? Because you've just like, sometimes I save things and I don't know where, like if I accidentally don't choose the right place to save a folder or something, or like a file, it ends up somewhere. And if I don't remember what I called it, it's like it's lost forever on the computer. So I hope that kind of helps. Stick to naming conventions that make sense. Do your own filing system on the computer that makes sense to you. So like whatever works with your brain is all it needs to do. Laura says, yes, the print instructions with the CF strategy plan were in there. Excellent. And Tiny Shopkeeper says the same. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so you guys found it. Let's see. Since I started my business in July 2019, I got 501c3 status in October 2019. Should I have my quarters be different with the end of the year in July? Is this question, and I'm gonna do something you guys asked me to do. I'm gonna need a little bit more information, Laura, and I'm gonna try to stick to. I know that when we do these over YouTube, there's a little bit of delay. Are you talking about for organizing for your own personal, or are you talking about taxes? Now, Laura is a little bit different with the Planner Scrapbook Association. She's a nonprofit, and I think that's what the 501c3 is. So I don't know I really don't know if you guys, like how your business, if your taxes are different than a normal business. Maybe if Catherine's still here, she could maybe give me just a fresh refresher on that, because we didn't really talk about, I didn't include nonprofits in the like business section. But what I would say is not necessarily. I wouldn't change your quarters, because you don't want to get confused in your own personal bookkeeping. Right now, Laura, so like when we talk about fiscal years, right? Like I said in the lecture, and I'm going to wait for you to give me a follow-up, and I'm going to look for your follow-up. So my business like when I went full-time for myself, that was May 2014. So 2014 was the first fiscal year that I was in business. It didn't mean that I started my year in May, but that was the first fiscal year where I was keeping track of my business activities. But once 2015 hit, it was a fresh year, right? So that was like a new year. So that was the year that I ended up in March of that year. I had created my business, because by March, and everything was just becoming so steady that I was like, okay, this is the time where I'm going to need to organize into a business. So I was feeling very confident about like the growth and the income streams and things like that. So when it comes to filing quarterly estimated taxes, those are, in the United States at least, those are set. So quarter one is January through March, and your estimated taxes are due April 15th. Normally, I realize this year we're in COVID year and taxes have been thrown off a little bit, but normally that's when it's due. Then April, May, and June are due the next month, July 15th. Then July, August, September, Q3, are due October 15th. And then October, November, December are due January 15th. So that is how the quarters or quarterly estimated taxes work in the US. So yes, so you are saying here as your follow-up, taxes, and yes, 501c3 we had to set up this year is when we start and when the year ends. So yes, Catherine said she can look it up and put it in the Slack channel. So I'm feeling very confident on this answer. In terms of taxes, no, your quarters are the exact same as the US quarters. If you have to pay taxes the same way a normal business does, even though you're a nonprofit, you're absolutely on the same schedule, I would assume, as everyone else. You don't make up your own schedule based on when you started. The government has like a consistent schedule for those. So Catherine says here that there are 2 tax years, a calendar year as a fiscal year, or a fiscal year can be any 12-month period. But when it comes to paying your taxes, Catherine, correct me if I'm wrong, don't we pay during a fiscal year? It all has to be like your taxes have to be that fiscal year, like the amount of money you brought in and the expenses from that fiscal year. Or are you saying there's other ways for you to do that? Which this is new to me, if that's true. A 12-month period, not at a calendar year, are called a tax year. Okay, so you only have to pay once a year because you're a nonprofit then. Is that what we're saying? I just want to clarify for anyone who's watching in the future. And we will add that information to the Slack and find some more resources. So then it might be different. If you are a nonprofit, you might be different than a normal, like not a normal business. Nothing's normal. You might be different than a traditional business the way we were discussing them in the module. So I think we're getting this question answered. Yes. Okay. Nonprofits are different. Okay. So then that's the answer. Nonprofits are different. I'm sorry I didn't include information on nonprofits specifically. I just assumed that most of you are for profit. It's called a tax year by the IRS. Okay. So then, Catherine, do you have any input then on the question she asked, which was, should she change her quarters then? I mean, I would always think that I would just go with whatever is the normal convention of the year, just to not get confused. But I don't know if there's necessarily like a benefit for a nonprofit. Okay, so apparently, yes, that is correct, Alexis, and that is okay. I'm a corporation as well. Okay, cool. Okie dokie. Okay, Catherine is still reading just to make sure. So we're going to let Catherine finish, and I'm going to go see if there's another question, and then I will come back to Catherine so we do not lose train of thought. I just want to check to see what the next question was. Okay. Carol said it was fun talking to you live. It was fun talking to you live too. I mean, technically we're live here. There's just a 30-second delay or something like that. Time works great. Yes, Sean has an Apple product. So yes, so you're familiar with what I was talking about then. When will you know if the ongoing coaching is a go? So I'm going to assume it's a go right now. So I'm going to assume it's a go. And if it's a not, I'll let you guys know. All right. So I'm just hoping that you guys, for this ongoing coaching, I would love it if you guys could get yourselves enrolled this week in that. Because technically I wanted to end the Slack for the 6-week business accelerator, like November 1st. So if anyone is interested in joining and for some reason or whatever, you could not enroll this week, like there's a legitimate reason you have, send me a message, let me know. I'm going to assume we are a go right now though. But what I'm going to say is that in the future, if, let's say we start right now and we have enough people that I feel like this is worth my time and the energy that I'm going to put into, because we've got enough people in the group. But let's say in the future, people drop out, we're not feeling it anymore, whatnot, then I reserve the right to end it. Now, of course, I will make sure that when we end it nice and clean, right? Or I will refund you whatever little, if we've stopped at a certain time and you're not going to get your month's worth, I will make sure to refund anybody that way. So I'll make sure it's all nice and clean. But because this is new, this is not something I've done before. It's not something we've tested before. Even this class was like a test run. I've never done something like this where every week I was rewriting and redoing an entire module of the course. The first time I wrote Empire Building, I wrote it one module a month, which was very much more doable. Now I was, I'm not gonna say it was a struggle. I did it. It was fine. I was always on a time crunch though for this week. So for these last 6 weeks. So moving forward, I do feel since we were able to do this process so well that I'm confident that everything moving forward, I'm going to be able to handle the Slack and the questions and the ongoing resources. And I feel really good about that and the ongoing class opportunity. Oh, and something else, which I know Laura is going to be very happy about. Laura, well, I think both Lauras, but I was thinking Laura Jetvich, if I'm saying that right. I'm going to switch to Zoom for the coaching calls. So for when we do our live calls for this, we're going to go to Zoom so that we will all be live together. Okay. So be prepared, ladies, that in the ongoing coaching calls, we're going to be live, have your webcams or whatnot. Have your business face on, whatever you want. No, it's no big deal if we're all in our pajamas. But I do plan to switch to Zoom for that so that we can be more live, since it is going to be more of a true coaching than this experience, which was going through the modules of the course. So Jennifer says, yes, I'm taking notes furiously. I would love to teach us a MacBook Pro organization mini course. I think about it. I mean, really, I think sometimes we overthink about this. It's really, I do think, use your computer like a file folder. I have one folder that's where all my business stuff is in there somewhere, right? And then I just break it out for different areas of my business that make sense to me. But what makes sense to me may not make sense to you. So you might want to have blog, Instagram, like you may want to just list out each individual one of your platforms. Like you might want to split things up. I just have, these files have been alive for, when did Strange and Charmed files start? I mean, it must have started in like 2012 or 2013, like eons ago, like even before my business started. I had this folder where the blog and the website stuff was and stock photography and stuff like that. So, yeah. Sean asks, do you back up on the cloud or Dropbox? This is a good question. Every once in a while, I have I used to have just the normal sized external hard drives, but I've had computers for like, I don't know, the last 20 years at this point. I still have my files from college. So what I did was I rolled all of my external hard drives into like one of those giant ones that, not giant. It's like a Western Digital book. I think it's called the Passport book. It's like, here, it's maybe the size of this book, like something like this. See this book? Imagine this is a square box that is an external hard drive that sits on my desk, and I keep it in my closet because I don't use it all the time. But every once in a while, I pull that out and I drop my folders my Strange and Charmed folder, and just like a couple of other folders on my documents folder, because I have I put my normal life stuff in files there, and I drop it and it backs up. And so it just overwrites the files that are in there already, and it keeps it backed up. Now I do have Dropbox. I do have like a business Dropbox account, and I think I get like a couple terabytes of storage there, which I will say is a good value. For whatever it is that I pay, it's a good value I get a couple terabytes of storage, stuff like that, 2, 10, I don't remember. And maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 5, I don't remember. I do pay for it. I get extra storage because of it. And I do throw things in there from time to time, as well as use it as a place to create links for my business, right? So when you guys went and downloaded the CEO Strategy Planner, that was in a separate link. So that's from Dropbox. So I keep a lot of things in my Dropbox that I share for my business. So yeah, that's how I back up. Now with Apple products, you can also do that like Time Machine backup. I don't really use that. I feel like it takes so long. And truthfully, I know the way that I use my computer, there's really only like 2 or 3 files on my computer that like have tons of files inside of it. But like in terms of like the storage, if I just move a couple of files and just let it sync, I'm good. So that's how I do it. I will say computers nowadays have gotten a little bit more, they're a little bit more reliable. Hard drives are much more reliable nowadays than they were 10 years ago. So I'm not so concerned about my computer breaking or anything like that, or information being irretrievably lost. But I do keep backups of things. Throw it in the cloud. Make sure that, every once in a while I'm backing up my hard drive. Hope that answers that question. I can't say that I'm so, on my backup game. Okay. Yeah, so Laura says, I bet it is offline. There's not enough space on a Dropbox or cloud. So we just answered that. But yes, if you upgrade to a Dropbox, there is enough space. So technically, I could back up my entire computer on. Do I have a backup? I don't think I do. I don't think I do have a backup of my entire computer or anything on Dropbox, but I do have folders for certain things in my business on there. So I do save certain things that are like, I want to make sure this doesn't get lost. I want to make sure I've got a backup of this somewhere. I do throw it in Dropbox. Let's see. Laura says, amen to the naming convention because new one final .indd is not helpful. Correct. So just kind of get into the habit of creating a convention where you just put, even if you put way too much information in the title, at least it'll help you to find it. Because at least on like a Mac, what I usually, when I'm looking for files, 9 times out of 10, I just go to the little spotlight search and type it in, and then I'll find it that way. I do sometimes go through all of my but if I can't find something super quick, I know I've named it something, that usually makes sense to me. So yeah, stick with the naming conventions. It's just a good habit to get into so you don't lose files. So my second question is in regards to systematizing. Yeah, I have no clue. Systematizing, one of those things. Turning a task a multi-step task that you do into a system. It's a repetitive system. Is this also true with social media? Like to write up how to take a picture, write the blog post, and certain hashtags to use? If you want to, absolutely. So if you notice I don't know if you need to say how to take a picture, right? If you know how to do that already, you know what I mean? But I would think that one of the reasons I like creating these systems is because if we ever hire an assistant or if we ever expand our business, it's really great to have our systems broken out so that we could teach somebody what we do, and it's all written out. And also for our own like peace of mind, we have like the system pieces broken out. Now, what I will say about social media is in the CEO strategy planner, when you look at the content trackers, I have in a way created a mini system of checkboxes for you to use to track that those sorts of tasks. So what happens, one of the ways that I tend to think about systems is I think we're all relatively familiar with the topic of a project plan, right? So you have an objective you're trying to reach, you create a project plan that breaks it down into multiple steps. But a question that a lot of people ask me is, well, what if I have this project plan that's like multiple steps, but it's something I have to do often, like I have to do it all the time? Then it's something you turn into a system, right? Because it's something that you're doing over and over and over again. And that's why you want to kind of have like the basic elements of it outlined. So in the marketing, here they are, content tracker. Let me see if I can get one that's blank. Do I have any that are blank? Nope. Okay, so we'll just go to the back of one of them. No problemo. So there are 4, and you guys are not really going to be able to see this, but you can, if you've seen this insert, right? There are 4 columns here, because for any piece of social media or content, marketing, content, for your marketing, there's the message. So the thing you're saying in the post, the media that goes along with it. So if you're on Instagram, it's a picture. If you're on, YouTube, if you're making a video, it's the video itself. Is it scheduled and has it been promoted, right? So that's like, in a way, a mini system for social media. But if it's something where you often forget the process or you want to optimize the process, absolutely write it down. And I will say for myself, in my Apple Notes, I keep for Instagram, I have a folder on my Apple Notes that's for Instagram. And one of the notes in there is hashtags. So I have like a wall of hashtags that I've already, like a group of hashtags that I've already like vetted for different types of scenarios of things that I post. And I have them there and I can just copy them and paste them into Instagram. So absolutely create shortcuts for yourself, like keep information stored. I even like the idea of like in my Apple Notes, let's say I used to use, and you guys have been following me for a while, you might know that I used to use an app called Scrivener on my computer to organize all of my writing. But I've pretty much shifted it over to Apple Notes now because Apple Notes is on my phone and my computer. And so what I have in my Apple Notes when I open it up, I don't necessarily feel the most comfortable sharing it, but if you guys are familiar, it's just an app where on like the left side, there's like you can make folders and subfolders of different topics. And I just have things broken out. So like for my content ideas, I have a folder called content ideas. And then underneath it, I have blog posts, emails, Instagram, live streams. I have one called podcast because I was thinking about doing a podcast once, and then YouTube videos. And so what I'll do is when I'm writing out a blog post, when I'm writing out an Instagram, writing out an email, in that file are going to be all of my blog posts, all of my emails, all of my Instagram, the outlines or the actual script for the YouTube video, right? And I'm in the habit of saving these things because I very often like to reuse my content, right? So I've been doing this for several years at this point. And I have tons of original content and tons of original posts. And so I'm at the point where if I don't feel like writing something like totally new, but I want to make sure that I'm posting something to my Instagram, usually because I've put it I've made it part of my editorial calendar. I like to have all of my text written out so I can search for topics and I can use those topics and reuse it. And I've got the text there. Like I don't have to rewrite messages. I've got text there. And that's why if you guys are following me, if you are someone who's like a nice, like very detective-y and you've been following me with like a fine-tooth comb, which I will say most people who are following you are not following you with a fine-tooth comb, you would notice that very often I have a blog post that you might see something similar on Instagram. It might become a YouTube video. It might become an email, right? Like I sometimes just reuse an email and make it a blog post. If I'm like, okay, this was a good email and I want to put it on my blog, right? I reuse my content. So I like to keep my writing organized. So I would highly recommend keeping all of your writing organized in some way. If you use something like Apple Notes, that's wonderful. If you want to get a dedicated app where you do all of your writing, awesome. But it just, as a business owner, all we're doing all the time is giving messages, is talking about things, is having, it's creating talking points for our audience. And after a while, you're going to notice that you've got like this whole library of thoughts and opinions and things like that, that you can always go back into in a pinch if you need something, right? Because something I learned kind of, the hard way was that, you know what? Like, people aren't paying that much attention that it's not worth it to reiterate, right? Like, I used to think like, okay, you did a YouTube video on this topic. You don't have to do one again because you've got that video there, but not so, right? Like, I could do a new project planning video every year, or I could really do it probably like every month or like every quarter, and people would still want that. Even if it was incredibly similar to another video that I had done in the past, because people always want to see new things, right? They think it's new, whatnot, even though the idea isn't new. So I think it's a very good idea to keep track of things. Once, I don't expect anyone starting out right now to be like, oh, I have like a plethora of ideas ready and written to go. No, obviously it took me years to get to this point. But if you start tracking that information now, keeping those posts and everything that you write out, everything that you share, all those ideas, like organized into some sort of system, like Apple Notes, Scrivener, whatnot, probably not something like individual text folders on your computer. That's probably like way too much to go through. Try to use some sort of app that helps you organize them and like helps you tier them, so that things like items are put together. And yeah, of course, using descriptive words like headers and stuff like that. So like if I go into, let's see, YouTube videos, CEO strategy date vlog, 10 ways to personalize your planner, 5 rules for keeping your email inbox clear. I didn't post that yet. That was supposed to be done another month, but I had to push it. So you guys will get that soon. But if I'm ever looking for, okay, I want to give email tips, right? I can just go ahead and search email tips, right? Or email rules or something like that. And I will find it in my system. And then I don't have to rewrite something I've already written. You know what I mean? I can just take it or just take part of it. You know what I mean? You don't have to share the exact same way. You can change things, but you have like those ideas and those messages set out for you. That was such a long-winded answer. I'm so sorry. Okay. Okay, so Catherine is saying, I'm finding nonprofits have only an annual return filing unless they have other income. I will put the IRS code link in Slack channel. Awesome. And I will move that to the module as well. For tax write-off purposes, how do you know if it's worth it to give donations of physical products? How do you know if it's worth it? Well, I guess the first thing to understand with taxes is that is the role that write-offs play on your taxes. So there's business income, and then there's business expenses, and there's your taxable income, which is on the profits of your business. So let's say that your business brought in $100,000 in a year, and you had expenses, write-offs, donations of products, right? That were totaling $50,000. Okay. Now your tax burden is just on $50,000. Now, that means that when you look, at least in the United States, when you look at the tax brackets, you're going to be paying your taxes, the amount of taxes based on the bracket that total income, let's just for clarity's sake, just say $50,000. You'll find on the tax bracket what it says you pay for $50,000 in income. And that's the tax that you owe. So when it comes to like giving donations of products, most likely you'd have to be giving away a lot for it to have any significant effect on your business. So I would say, like with donations specifically, you'd probably want to be doing things that make sense, that feel right with you, feel aligned with you. I wouldn't just give things away to write them off necessarily, but truthfully, there's nothing wrong with doing that, right? I think though that you would have to be giving away so much that that it's just, that in order for it to hit, you know what I mean? Like if you wrote off $1,000 of product, that's not going to be a ton of income that you're going to be taxed on that $1,000. You know what I mean? But if it was like $50,000, then yeah, that's going to be a lot of income. But then again, your donations and everything need to make sense with how much money you're making, because you're not a nonprofit like Laura, right? Who is not necessarily is not necessarily in it for profit, right? So if you're a normal business in it for profit, the IRS might scratch their head if they're like, she made $100,000 and 50,000 of it went to donations. Why was that? You know what I mean? Like, so you have to do what makes sense to you. But I know for you, Malaysia, that there's, I know that you have old stock that you're trying to move. But I think you can write that off as like a loss though, right? Because that's going to be like when you have stock, right? Your products, let's say you are a business that resells things. So you buy products to be your stock and then you sell them for a profit. Buying the original products for your stock, whatever you paid for that, is the write-off in your business. It's only the profit that you from that sale that is something that is revenue, right? Because you had to make an investment here. I had to buy this. Let's say I'm reselling hand sanitizer with little baby Yodas on it. I bought this, a box of these, a box of 1,000 of them for $1,000, and I'm going to resell them each for $2 each, and I make a profit of $1,000 on them. If I have this and it just doesn't move, right, I can just write this off and there's no profit. Right? So that already, the same thing with like your, the cost of your materials, right? And things like that. They're expenses for your business, and your taxable income comes from the profits that you make from reselling them. I hope I explained that right. And Laura says, Dropbox has saved me countless times because you can go back to prior versions of the files. Excellent, excellent. The other thing is too, and Laura, I don't know, because you were talking about in-demand a second ago. I have Adobe Creative Cloud, which is what I use. And Laura was mentioning InDesign. She might also have Adobe Creative Cloud. As part of your subscription for Adobe Creative Cloud, if you're someone who has that, you can use their cloud backup for your files as well. So they will actually hold a certain amount of files for you in the cloud if you need it. I don't personally use that, but it's there if you need it. Here's a great tip. Catherine says that as a PC lover, I have Carbonite for a yearly fee. It automatically backs on my hard drives in the cloud. Excellent. That's great. Let me write that down, and I will suggest, we'll talk about backup systems. Carbonite, because I'm not always up to date on like what the best PC software is. I usually have to search those things. Okay. No, Catherine, absolutely. You can totally answer these questions because you're a good person to ask for these, being a lawyer. But yes, I think that was the gist of what I was saying, right? It depends on the amount of the deductions that you can take and how it affects your bottom line on tax due, which is what I was trying to explain with the 100,000 in, 50,000 out, then you are only taxed on the 50,000 that's left. No, you guys never have to shut up. This is why we are a group here. So am I recalling correctly, there's an email support component of Empire Building? Yes. So if you guys, when you join Empire Building, you get an email, a year of email support for me. So you could send me a question via email. if you're not like a part of the group, a group thing. So if you're part of the group, the advantages would be that we're all kind of talking, we're kind of collaborating, and I add extra content into the group. So you guys have seen how I've been adding things. We'll talk about different topics. And now that the 6 weeks of the program is over, this group coaching element is going to be good because we can go in depth on different topics, right? So we can talk about organizing files if we want to talk about it. We'll talk about my thought is that November's class is going to be, I wrote all this stuff out in my planner. November's class is going to be on mindset because I really, really think we need to get mindset right. So I want to do a mindset sort of class for female entrepreneurs because I think a lot of us are programmed with certain beliefs and limiting beliefs in our head about the way we have to do things or the way that we should do things. And that's why today's affirmation was so important, that I choose how my business gets to work for me. And that is absolutely true. And I want to go in depth with these sorts of things in November. Then in December, what I want to do is I want us to set our yearly goals together. So I want us to go through together, we'll pull out our CEO strategy planners. We'll do the yearly goal setting. You guys will see how I set my yearly income targets and how I break those targets down into my quarterly targets for like different products and things that I'm doing. And then how I take those, sub breakdowns of how many products I need to sell in order to make X amount of money. And then I turn it into campaigns, right? So we're going to be doing all that in December. We'll do our yearly goal planning. And then January, I forget what January's idea was. Cannot remember right now. Did I write it down here? Oh, maybe I didn't. Maybe you guys tell me what you guys want. That's the other thing too, is I want you guys to tell me what you guys want. Because I know I don't know what you guys don't know. And so if you guys agree on, Alexis, I want to do a whole class on this topic, we'll do it. Maybe we can, like I said in the group earlier today in the Slack, that I think it's in Empire Building, there already is a masterclass on blogging, and that's pretty good. I watched it the other week really, and just to make sure that I felt like everything was pretty good there, and that anything that had changed was already in the new modules. And but I never did one on YouTube, so I feel like we need to do a YouTube/video masterclass together. And specifically, I would like to talk about how to use video to create lead magnets, because a question came up today in the Slack. Not a question, really, just Laura was sharing what she was feeling for her platforms, and she didn't want to use YouTube anymore because of one of the reasons she gave this. There was obviously more reasons, but one of the reasons she gave was that she didn't now that the parameters have changed for YouTube in terms of the ad revenue for being a YouTube partner, that until you hit those more aggressive targets, now you don't get to make money from your videos. And what I had said to her was that, truthfully, you guys, if YouTube never paid me another cent in my life, I would still use YouTube, because YouTube happens to be a tremendous lead magnet for my business. And one of the very big reasons why I do not need to pay for ads, and why I get like hundreds of new people on my email list every month because of YouTube. So I would like to do an entire class on YouTube. And I would like to do, I don't know if we need to do an entire class on Instagram, because I do have that other Instagram workshop in there that really does cover all of my basics. But we can cover content marketing. Like we can cover free opt-ins and creating funnels and things like that. Those are the sorts of topics I want to continue on with this group, so that we're going to expand on things. I have the opportunity to give you guys like a lot more examples. And I know that I've, with this upgrade where we've been doing, for example, I gave you guys email sequences. I gave you guys my funnel email sequences, so you guys had examples. But if you guys want to go into like, let's create a funnel together, right, for each of us, we could do that on a live call to, do the elements of it, get feedback from each other on what we think makes sense and things like that. So I think that there is, although there's plenty of resources already in Empire Building that you can take and run with, if you want that additional support ongoing, that's what this group coaching is going to be. So I hope that makes sense. So yes, you do have, when you buy Empire Building, you get a year of email support from me. But now with this ongoing coaching, it's an opportunity to get more topics, go more in depth, get more. You just get more content, more value, more things from me. You know what I mean? I think about like new little teeny little micro strategies all the time. And I try things out, right? And I test things out. And I'd love to be able to tell you guys about it outside of like needing to upgrade my entire empire building to like include this little new trendy, right? This new trendy piece that, that I might be working on, but we haven't really tested long term. So things like that. V says, I started doing the same thing in my Apple Notes. Excellent. Yeah. Keep track of everything you write. Keep it all organized. Keep it, make sure you're clearly talking about, you can always not tags. They don't really have tags, but you can always call the note something incredibly descriptive with a naming convention so that if you ever wanted to go back, you're not coming up with you're not having to come up with all new things. You know what I mean? Like you've got stuff there to refer back to. Because if you guys do follow my method and do a lot of content creation, you're going to create a lot of great content that you're going to want to reuse. Sean says, do a podcast. Well, I did that Tubecast on YouTube where I recorded audio and put it on YouTube. I just don't know. It's just another thing. Like it's another platform that I have to invest in, like time and energy and stuff like that. And truthfully, it would just most likely end up being that my podcasts would be regurgitated on a blog post or a video or an email. So it's like, I don't know if it's really worth it for me to start a podcast since I already do video, So Laura says, yes, reusing content is a great idea. And this actually made me think of another point. I just thought of another point about this. Reusing content is great. But what I want to say about reusing content is that you want to make sure that your content, let's say you take one piece of content and you're going to put it on all your different platforms. At least try to change it in some way that makes it optimal for the platform that you're using. So for example, I could write a whole blog post, like I said before, those 5 email inbox hacks or whatever, tips to keep your email inbox clear. That's a blog post. It could be a blog post. It's written out, actually. I already have it written out. It's a blog post. But it's not going to be a blog post. It's going to be a YouTube video. So what I need to do is I need to take that content and I need to translate it into video. So it'll most likely be pictures or like video clips with like a voiceover, right? But you just want to make sure that when you're reusing things, you're just not blindly regurgitating. You want to make sure that you're optimizing it for the platform that it's on. You know what I mean? So like, for example, I just did that luxury planner unboxing, right? YouTube is the place to put that because it's a show and tell thing. You know what I mean? I can sit there, I can talk, I can show you guys things. We talk about some stuff. You know what I mean? Like that is a piece of content that is optimized for YouTube. Now, the idea of my luxury planners, I could take that information and create a blog post with it, right? So I could, take a few pictures of the planners and then like do a little write-up of things that I covered in the video. But it would be changed. Like the format would change it. But I do have like the rough outline, I guess, of what I said on the YouTube video. I don't know if did I have an outline? If not, YouTube always takes what you said and does a closed captioning for it. And you can download those. Just a pro tip if you're using YouTube and you want to reuse a YouTube video as a blog post or something like that, but you're like, oh, I don't have text for it. I just talked. YouTube does take, it does that thing where it adds the captions. So you can actually go in and download the captions. Sometimes there'll be spelling mistakes and words wrong. So you'll have to go through and edit it. And it'll also be formatted funny. But if you take the time to just like take the formatting weirdness out, like with the timestamps, you're good to go. And you could just, edit that. So, or you could pay to have somebody transcribe them for you. There's that too. But I'll let YouTube do it and then I'll just do my extra work. No big deal. To me, it feels the same. Okay, so OneNote is also an excellent resource and it's free. So that could be another one. I'll write that down too. OneNote. Yeah, I know there's tons of these different note applications like Evernote and things like that. With the Apple, it's so, Apple gives you Apple Notes and it's so convenient. Oh, awesome. So OneNote is the Windows equivalent to iOS Apple Notes. Cool. Excellent. OneNote, you can create notebooks and pages that help you keep track of different projects. Cool. Excellent. Mm. And Laura says here, and I think this is in reference to what maybe Malaysia was talking about. Platinum Planner is a for-profit corporation, has given away between 30 and 50,000 to other nonprofits every year. They did it via giveaway planners. Awesome. I would also assume though that they're making like more than that. Like that's probably $30 to $50,000 probably isn't a majority of their business. You know what I mean? Like maybe they make 100, maybe they make 200. Like I'm guessing here, but I'm assuming that that chunk of what their giveaway is just extra money, that they have to give away. like that they're still paying their employees and they're making enough to make ends meet. But I don't know. I don't know how other people run their businesses. I would just assume that if you're a business and you give away most of the money that would be products, it might be like a red flag to the IRS. Just thinking it might be. Okay, so Laura says, I have Creative Cloud, but I don't love their cloud function. It causes all kind of conflicts with the InDesign. Awesome. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I store everything locally anyway, so. Anne says, I love Evernote for ease of quick creation on the go and tagging. Then I copy the content to OneDrive where I organize my folders. Oh, and another thing you could use too, guys, is Google Drive, right? So I do have like a Google Drive account or whatever. And I do keep I do have a folder, not a folder. I have a Google Drive spreadsheet is where I keep a lot of my information for like email marketing, and even like you guys in this class. I have a spreadsheet for like who registered for this 6-week business accelerator with your information and like your, your name, your email address. And I used it to check off to make sure you guys were like set up on the module page, the class website, and set up in the Slack. And then for those of you who sent me emails to like let me know about your business, I like have a little like reminder that's like, Catherine Caiston is a lawyer, or Dory is tiny shopkeeper, and she does these convention booths. And Anne's business is Retrieve Life, and she does such and such. So like I have that so I can remember you guys, and kind of keep everyone straight. You know what I mean? And then I also use that folder for like putting together all of my opt-ins, like all of my opt-ins that go through my email, because I have so many of them. I just want to I need like a quick reference. And sometimes I feel like the formatting in Apple Notes isn't the best for tables. You can add a table in there, but it's just easier for me to have it on Google. So I do use Google occasionally as well for certain things. And that can be good for storing information. And they give you like, I don't know how much they give you, how much space they give you, maybe 500 megabytes. I don't know, maybe a terabyte. I don't know if it's that much. I don't know if it's a terabyte. Oh, you know what it is? It's probably like 5 gigabytes. That's probably what it is. Probably 5 gigabytes. Okay, so Yolanda says, yes, need mindset help. Looking forward to the continued coaching. Awesome. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, so if you guys want it, jump on the continued coaching. And stay in the group and such. Awesome. So Malaysia says, thank you both so much. That totally makes sense. Cool. Yes, on the YouTube videos. Awesome. January can be organization. Okay, that's what you guys want. You guys tell me what you guys want. Whatever the most of you guys want, we'll work on. Laura would love a deep dive on YouTube. Awesome. Yes, it feels overwhelming. Absolutely. And like I said, I would use YouTube even if it wasn't for money. And you guys would probably be surprised that they really do not pay me as much as you might think someone gets paid for doing YouTube. I'm not going to scoff at it. You know what I mean? Like, I like getting, I love getting paid all the different ways. But I think that there's like a belief that like YouTubers make a lot more money. Certain YouTubers make a lot of money. But like, for me, like I just have like my channel isn't like the greatest channel on the YouTubes, So, but for me, it really, where the value is for me is being able to put up lead magnets, being able to put up things that are sales related, doing really good content marketing that leads people to purchase something. That's what is really valuable to me. Like in email addresses alone, I mean, I don't like hundreds, like I said, hundreds of people coming to my email list a month. I don't even know how you would even quantify that. Like if you were paying $1 a lead, that would be astronomically good. We talked about that for like ads. Like if you're paying an ad and it's $1 for a lead, that's like a really good price. Usually leads are like $3 to $15 a person. So if you take like 500 people times 3, that's $1,500 worth of value that I'm getting from YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need YouTube to pay me. They pay me in other ways. So, yeah. Yeah, here, perfect point. YouTube can be annoying, but you wouldn't have found me if not for YouTube, because YouTube really is my biggest, I really think it's my biggest community driver, for sure. Yep, and Jennifer also found me on YouTube. I think most people find me on YouTube. Most people find me on YouTube from either one of my really big business videos or from some planner video. Yeah, Laura says, I think being on Zoom will make it even more valuable. Interaction is much easier. Yes, I just need to figure out how to do the classes and stuff. I don't know if this software that I'm using right now plays with Zoom. I don't think it does. So I'm going to have to figure out how I present on Zoom. And I think Zoom, when I sign up for it, like a paid account, they may also let me record in there. I just got to figure it out. I've never been someone who's been like in love with Zoom. But I think it would work better for a group coaching experience. Oh, okay. Jennifer had a question about email support. It got buried up there. 720. Oh, Yolanda did. Yes, I already answered it. Okay, I'm so far behind right now. I'm so sorry. Okay, so Laura also bought Zoom. Okay, so Laura says that the Passion Planner are $1 million company, smaller than EC or Happy Planner. So then that's what I'm saying. They're making lots of money, and so they're able to give away a lot too. Google Docs are awesome for notes. To keep awesome. So Laura says having a database or CRM is a great way to hold everything. I used to teach people how to create databases like Access. I haven't used databases in a really long time. So maybe Laura's going to have to give us some more information on that. Right now, I'm going to schedule the first coaching Zoom for November 22nd at like 2 p.m. Eastern. Let me write that down. November 22nd at 2 p.m. Eastern. And then moving forward, we might change it, because this is a weird month for me, because as you guys, some of you guys know, I also have the first, the kickoff for the Productivity and Planning Mastermind, which is another group subscription. And it's also the holidays, you know what I mean? Like we have Thanksgiving coming up. So it's a weird month, but I'm confident now that this 6-week thing is over, and I'm done with it was like 3 or 4 days of work. Like I'd be working on the modules and things. So that is going to free up a lot of time for me. So I think the 22nd is probably, and I think that's a Sunday, and I didn't even check. I think it's a Sunday. Awesome. Okay. Question about the price as in sessions. So V says, question about the price, is that a $144 for 30 days as in sessions? It's $144 a month. So every month you will be charged $144. And if anyone has done research on group coaching and things like that for what we're doing in terms of doing like face-to-face in a group and having a Slack, you guys should know that price is actually very, very competitive, because you guys know me. This is something new. So I didn't want to, whenever I'm doing something new, I don't want to price it where the rest of the world is at necessarily. I want to make sure that I'm easing myself into it, because I don't know how it's going to work out. We're just starting this together. So that's $144 a month. So every 30 days, that's when you're going to be charged that, right? Yes, for Zoom you can record. Yep. Awesome. Laura says she can reach out to her if I need help. On Zoom and you can easily screen share. Yeah. I just need to figure out how to do it. You know what I mean? Like I've got my special amazing software that I use here that lets things pop up and all that stuff. And it's like, I just got to go in there and get comfortable with it. Yes. And I have, Keynote is what I use because I have an Apple, a Mackie Mac. Okay. I just share a screen. It's easy to record. Okay. Yeah. With Zoom, you get longer than, 30 minutes with paid. Yeah. That's why I have to do a paid account. I know that. So, absolutely. Yeah. And Carol says that's such good price for business coaching. Yeah. So for now, I will say that's where we're going to start off with it. Let's see how it goes. And yeah, just hopefully enough of you guys stay in it so that it becomes worth it for me to, do that time. I think it's going to be a good opportunity for all of us. I know it's something that people have wanted from me for a while, but I didn't feel like I was set up for it yet. But I think now might be good. We can do it. Okay, so I am at the end of the questions. So if anyone has another question, please let me know. I know we're going on like 2 hours here. If you guys have any more questions, let me know, or else you can go to the Slack. Just a reminder that if you're not yet set up if you haven't gotten the link yet, in the description of this YouTube video, but if you're watching the module page, I might link it on the module page as well. But if you're here live, you can open the description, get the link to, and I'll drop the link in the Slack too for the ongoing coaching. And I might even send an email to everybody who's signed up for Empire Building, because I think I should probably open it up to everyone. So everyone who has gone through Empire Building. Yeah, but you guys are the guinea pigs for now. But if you guys are ready to go. So Malaysia says, I'm not sure if I should sign up for the productivity or continue the business coaching. So what is it that you are? So like, this is the thing. In the productivity, I'm not talking about business. Like, we're not going to be diving into business topics. But we will dive into productivity to an extent in the, in the business coaching, because there's a lot of productivity that, oh, my hair looks so crazy, you guys. I straightened it before class, but then it poofed up again. It's very humid in my house for some reason. To some extent, we'll be doing productivity, in terms of, organizing systems, things like that. But it really is like for two different types of audiences. Now, I expect that some of you might cross over, right? But the productivity group is really for people who enjoy those monthly calls that I was doing before and like to do those like live plan with me's and go in depth on different sorts of productivity topics. And for people who like my inserts and are comfortable with doing print on demand, because I have been designing a lot of like new stuff, and honestly, I just want a place to put it, right? So I just give it to people in my group instead of doing freebies per se. So it is really kind of like two different groups. So if you want business help, then I would sign up for the business coaching, because the business coaching will cover, of course, productivity for business people. But the productivity is just for like extra, if you love like my designs and you're like, oh, okay, I want to do a bonus, class with her on something productivity related. That's what you're paying for, like a monthly masterclass, additional inserts, things like that. Book club, I'm saying? A lot of these things that people have asked me for a long time, I've kind of rolled into that productivity group. Okay, yeah, if you guys are ready to go, feel free to say goodnight. And awesome. Okay, I think you guys are good. Okay, awesome. You guys are good night? Okay, we're all good night. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. And if you guys have any other follow-up questions, let me know. If you're watching the replay, you can leave comments on the module page, or if you're in the Business Accelerators group, you can leave it in there. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will talk to many of you soon. Bye-bye.